Welcome to Plan9Crunch. I'm Doug Gibson. This is Steve D. Stones. And today we're doing a live cast of Ed Wood's quintessential cult movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space. We also appreciate those watching right now. It will also be archived on our Plan9Crunch Facebook page and our Plan9Crunch YouTube page. We're just going to get right to it. So I'll ask Jack Sinope if we're ready to start the movie right now.
Here we go.
Okay, Steve, why don't you get things going here?
I consider this to be the greatest cult film of all time, and there are many great cult films, but this is the top of the list of my list of greatest cult films.
Definitely, it's something we've seen 300 times. This is Criswell. Criswell predicts.
Greetings, my friend.
He was one of Ed Wood's more influential friends. He had a bit of a reputation as writing columns, TV shows in Los Angeles, and later he wrote books. He was a prognosticator, and he was on Johnny Carson's Tonight Show a lot, but let's listen to him right now.
The mysterious, the unexplainable, that is why you are here. And now, for the first time, we are bringing to you the full story of what happened on that fateful day. We are giving you all the evidence.
I think I have this memorized, Steve. You know that.
Secret testimony of the
He has a
miserable
similar
souls
opening in
who
Revenge of
survived
the
this
Dead,
terrifying
a.k.a.
ordeal.
Night of the Ghouls,
The incidents,
although there he's
the
coming out of a
places.
coffin.
My friend,
Yeah,
we
and
cannot
also
keep this a secret any longer. Let us
Orgy
punish
of the Dead,
guilty. Let us
the
reward
nude he
the
made
innocent.
in the 60s.
My
A.C.
friend.
Stevens, Stephen
Can your
Apostolov.
heart stand
Can your heart stand?
the shocking
facts
about
grave robbers from outer space.
So we're going to see some big names here, actually.
Tor Johnson, Vampira,
Cowboy star Tom Keane. Gregory Walcott.
he was the contract guy.
And Clint Eastwood's Iger Sanction movie.
Yeah, Plan 9 from Outer Space, Reynolds Pictures. You're going to see J. Edwards Reynolds in this movie. These are all Ed Wood actors, a lot of them. Duke Moore, Carl Anthony.
Stock actors.
Yeah. Ben Frommer was in a lot. Paul Marco.
There's another pretty big name, Lyle Talbot. Bela Lugosi, of course.
I always find it interesting they say a movie has guest stars.
They're all guest stars.
I know they are. The music for this film is from Iron Foundry, which is Russian classical music. I think one of the strengths of this movie is its music. It's very intense. Bum, 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 bum. And there's good old J. Edwards Reynolds. He was a Baptist member of a church. Wood convinced him to invest in this film. Reynolds wanted to make Christian films.
all of us on this earth.
I find this footage of Lugosi very moving because he, of course, died. There's J. Edwards Reynolds on the right.
Left behind.
Well, notice that the person conducting this is not really saying anything.
The
He's
proud
just got
brother
the
comes
Bible
suddenly
or
without warning.
whatever it is he's reading from. It's
Just
kind
at
of
sundown,
bizarre that he's
a
not
small
really saying
group
anything.
Gathered
Well, I
in
wonder if it was
silent
shot just
prayer around
silent.
the newly opened grave of
It's
the
interesting to
beloved
wonder
wife of an
what
elderly
movie
man.
was Wood making
Sundown of the day,
with the Lugosi footage.
yet also the sundown of the
Personally, I
old
don't think it
man's
was
heart.
Plan 9 from Outer Space.
For the shadows of grief
Maybe the Vampire's Tomb or something.
clouded his very reason.
Poor Reynolds lost his shirt on this
entire
movie.
film is based on just these shots that
The funeral
Wood
over,
shot
the saddened
with
group
Lugosi
left the
that were
graveside.
shot long before or maybe a year or two before the actual movie was shot.
What's poignant is they must have been shot right before Lugosi died, too. And then we're going to cut away pretty soon to other action here. I don't even know who the guy next to J. Edwards Reynolds on
It
the
was
left
when
is.
the grave
Probably a
diggers
church member.
started their task that strange things began to take place.
I love the interior of this cockpit. It's very minimal.
15
Yeah,
to
it's
4.
almost minimal to the sense where you could write a paper
Yep, right
about
on
it.
schedule. There's the old San Fernando
That is
Valley
David
out there
Demering
now.
on the left, and that's Gregory
Better
Walcott.
radio in for landing
Another
instructions,
film
Danny.
Walcott made later was a spaghetti
Right,
western called Man of the
Burbank
East with
Tower,
Terence
this is
Hill.
American
There's
Flight
been a Steven
812.
Spielberg
Over.
film called The
Wouldn't
Sugarland
surprise me if
Express.
he's
Yes,
asleep this
good
hour of
point.
the morning.
This is so minimalist, you're right. There's a shower curtain right there.
If I were asleep, you'd never get on the ground. In your case, maybe I'll leave you up there for good. Over.
You got me that time, Mac. This American Flight 812 requesting.
Oh, here
There's
comes
a shadow of the
the boom mic, yeah,
at the
going
top
through.
there.
Can you? I never can quite tell if you can see the string or not.
Flight
Not
812.
in that shot.
No, you can't.
Burbank Tower to American Flight 812. Over.
Holy mackerel.
Burbank Tower to American Flight 812. Are you in trouble?
Trouble?
Take a look for yourself.
What in the world?
That's nothing,
Nothing
from
from
this
this world. Ed Wood has some
Burbank
great
Tower to
lines
American
that you
Flight
can laugh
812.
at, but with
Are you in
respect.
trouble? Are you in trouble?
Mayday, Mayday. Stand by, Burbank Tower.
You suppose a passenger saw it?
I doubt it. Most of them were asleep. But it was quite a jolt, Jeff. I'll check.
Good. We'll get it ready for landing. And keep it quiet until we get instructions.
Right.
Okay, Danny.
American Flight 812.
Norma McCarthy is the
reporting to Burbank
stewardess. She and
Tower.
Ed Wood were
Over.
briefly married.
I would think that Gregory Walcott probably never put this film on his resume.
You know, he probably didn't. He said tough things about it, but I'll tell you something. It made him famous for a long time beyond his career.
Did you hear anything?
I thought it did.
Don't like hearing noises, especially when ain't supposed to be any.
Yeah, sort of spooky like.
Maybe
Why
we're
are
getting
they
old.
throwing dirt
Whatever it is,
behind
gone
them?
now.
They're supposed to be.
That's the
they're
best thing for us,
supposed to
too.
be
Gone.
Throwing
Yeah, let's
dirt
go.
into a grave.
I don't know. They're amateur actors. You can see their heads jerk a lot, you know. But it's kind of cool because it sort of adds to the charm of the film. And here comes, for the very Vampira for the first time. She only spent a day on the set.
Myra Nurmi,
Yep, Milo Nurme.
Finnish actress.
She was a model too for a long time.
Well, that's a very genuinely creepy shot,
It is.
really.
I believe this is Tor Johnson's home. And here's Lugosi. This is a
grief
rather,
of his
rather
wife's death
poignant shot.
became greater and greater agony.
That's a classic
The
Southern
home
California
they had
home,
so
by the
long
way.
shared together became a tomb, a sweet memory of her joyous living.
Let's just admit that dialogue is funny
The
sometimes.
sky
all
to
right?
which she had once looked was now only a covering for her dead body.
Well, he's supposed to walk in front of a car, but yet we still see a shadow in the frame
Yeah,
as you hear him screaming as he's getting hit by the car.
it's true. Lugosi does so well in this scene. It's
The
really
ever
not his
beautiful
fault. They
flowers she had
banged up
planted
the end of it, didn't they?
with her own hands became nothing more than the lost roses.
Just what a trooper Bela
of her
Lugosi
cheeks.
was, working on these low-budget films for Ed Wood. Gotta really admire him.
Confused by his great loss,
Yeah, look at
the
the
old
shadow.
man left that home, never to return again.
Yeah, the shadow was not knocked down. I shouldn't laugh. Okay, we're going to see Gloria D.E.A.
At the funeral of the old
She
man,
just recently died at around the
unknown
age of
to his
100.
mourners,
And that's
his
Ben Frommer. That's
dead
Gloria
wife
D. And that's Ben
was
Frommer.
watching.
First his wife, then he.
We could talk about quality
Tell me
studios where
something.
these interior
Why was his wife
graveyard
buried in the
shots
ground and he
were
sealed in a crypt?
Yeah,
filmed.
my bucket list
Something
is
to
to
do
go
with
visit
family
quality
tradition,
studios in
a
Los
superstition of
Angeles
some
someday.
sort.
Oh,
Well, it's getting dark. Let's be on our way.
You know, I got a letter from Gloria D. because I sent her a happy birthday. Somebody on the Ed Wood
Then, as
Facebook
two of
page
his mourners
arranged
left his
that.
final resting place,
before she died. And there's Tor. We'll see Tor for the first time. This is one of the few films where Tor Johnson speaks. He did speak in a few movies. This is one of them. He probably had the most dialogue of any film he was in Plan 9.
Beast at Yucca Flats, he doesn't have to say anything.
No, there's a Stephen Apostolov film about escaping communism that Tor has a small role in and speaks. Can't remember the name right now, though.
Minutes later, the police, led by Inspector Daniel Clay, arrived at the scene.
Who found them?
The man and girl.
Carl Anthony.
Medical examiner been around yet?
Conrad Brooks is
Just
there
left.
in the
The
background.
morgue wagon ought to be along most any time.
You get their statement?
Yeah, much as we could. They're pretty scared.
Finding a mess like this ought to make anyone frightened.
Those are
Have
pretty
one
cool
of the
mannequins.
boys take the guy and the girl back to town. You take charge.
Excuse me.
Okay, Inspector. What are
Duke
you going to
Moore.
do?
Look around the world.
Just a fixture in
Pretty dark
Edward
out there.
films. Never made
Once
a
you get
movie
beyond the
outside
range
of
of
an
those
Edward
lights, you
film.
won't be able to see your hand in front of your face.
I will get one of the
I like the line,
flashlight
I'm
from
a big
the
boy,
patrol car.
Johnny.
Hey, be careful, Clay.
I'm a big boy now, Johnny.
I'm a big boy now, Johnny. You know, sometimes you can see the floor of that studio, but otherwise it looks pretty good, I think.
It even looks like it has depth to it, even though
Yeah.
it's just a little tiny.
Tiny place. Cult Movies magazine was selling like little pieces of the black fabric years ago of the studio. One thing about this film is it gets right to the action. You know, Tor was in movies with W.C. Fields and movies with Bob Hope.
The Lemon Drop Kid.
Lemon Drop Kid with Bob Hope, and
Oh, it looks like a bobcat tore into them.
Yeah.
Does that really look like a bobcat tore into it? Because
Well,
it
this-
didn't look
Say,
that way to
Lieutenant.
me.
the script said to say
You
it.
get that funny odor?
How could I miss it? Oh, that'll be the morgue wagon now.
And there's Jeff and Paula. That is Mona McKinnon.
Something's happened down at the cemetery. A lot of
Who
police
was in
cars
jailbait?
and lights. I stopped, but I didn't see anything.
And also Mesa of Lost
Oh,
Women.
well, whatever it is.
A Ron
We'll
Orman
see
In
film.
the
together,
juvenile
we'll study.
delinquency clip that's
Yeah.
in Revenge of the
Yeah,
Dead.
yeah. That was a movie that never finished called Hellborn.
You seem to still be up there somewhere.
Maybe I am.
I don't think I've ever seen you in this mood before.
I guess it's because I've never been in this mood before.
You can tell that Gregory Walcott is an experienced actor here.
Something about your flight?
Yeah.
Well, didn't he
What
attend
happened, Jeff?
the church that funded this?
That's how they got him. How else would Gregory Walcott make this movie, probably? Because he was with a major studio.
I saw a flying saucer.
Saucer? You mean the kind from up there?
Another funny line.
Yeah, its counterpart. It was shaped like a huge cigar. Dan and Edith saw it too.
Did it look like a
When it
cigar to
passed
you?
over, the whole
Does
compartment
anyone
lighted up
know
with a
of
blinding
any
glare.
spaceships shaped
Then there was
like
a
a
tremendous
cigar?
wind that practically knocked us off our course.
Well, did you report it?
Yeah, radioed in immediately, and they said we'll
I
keep
like
it
this.
quiet
I
until
like
you
this
land.
dialogue. Big Army
And as soon
brass.
as we landed, Big Army brass grabbed us and made us swear to secrecy about the whole thing. Oh, it burns me up. These things have been seen for years. They hear. It's a fact. And the public ought to know about it.
There must be something more you can do about it.
Do you think
Well,
that there
there
was a
isn't.
message in
Oh, but
Edward's
what's the use of
film
making a fuss?
about government secrecy?
But
Some
last
people say
night I
that.
saw a flying object that couldn't have
Sure.
possibly been from this planet.
Some
But I
people
can't
just say
say
you
a
wanted to get the
word.
movie done.
A muzzle by Army brass. I can't even admit I
The
saw
people
it.
have said there's like subversive elements about government secrecy in this film and everything. Danny Perry said that in his book Cult Films. Then at the very end he said he was just kidding, but later he said he really meant it. That Wood was trying to make a statement. That there's too
I
much
love this scene
secrecy.
here where
Yeah.
one of the tombstones kind of wobbles right there.
Yeah, it's a wobbly
That cross
tombstone.
in the background.
That's good wind music, wind sounds.
You know, you go into cemeteries and often there are tombstones that are not upright because they've been there for so long.
That's true. I've been to some cemeteries in ghost towns, and I see that in Nevada. I almost see string there. to the point. Of course, going by the crypt right now.
Here comes Dr. Tom Mason.
Yes, Tom Mason, who is the double for Lugosi.
This was Ed Wood's chiropractor.
Yeah, this...
He seems to be a little bit taller than Lugosi. Or am I wrong on that?
I'm not sure. He's trying to hunch over. People find this risible, but I admire the effort to try to get some kind of continuity in the film. Once again, really good effective music here in the film.
Helping to build some suspense,
yeah. Man, Elvira's waist, was that like 17, 18 inches?
Sounds like crazy trouble.
Did he shoot more than 6 or 8 shots? No, I think
he counted the number of shots.
If that apparition we saw had something to do with it, come on.
Didn't take him long to kill Inspector Clay, did it? Okay, here comes a famous line that people like to make fun of. It is a funny line, but I'm going to love it. Duke Moore's going to say it in a second.
Well, I love how he just randomly holds that gun and itches himself with it and points it at people.
Rather dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is.
He's messed up as bad as those two back there. Suppose that saucer or whatever it was had something to do with this?
Your guess is as good as mine, Larry. One thing's sure. Inspector Clay's dead. Murdered. And somebody's responsible.
You're in charge now, Lieutenant.
Yeah, guess I am.
You know, first time I saw this movie was on Movies Till Dawn in Los Angeles. I think it was Channel 13.
Well, how
Could
about
be
the lab
9.
Probably at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I DVR'd it.
Boy Scouts?
I didn't DVR it. I videotaped it.
I was going to say that we didn't have DVR.
But I did make a DVR of the videotape, and I have it.
Reverend Lemon here.
Lynn Lemon.
Than to lay down his life for another. It is always difficult to have last
he would have
words
been
over the grave
someone
of a friend.
that was part of the
and Inspector
group
Daniel
that funded
Clay
this, right?
was
Or am
I
wrong?
don't know, but Lynn Lemon was in that movie, the Ed Wood, the one where
the
that
bell
was made by
has
John
rung upon his great
Crawford
career.
Thomas. And
Now
he lived to
we
be
lay
very
him
long
to rest.
age, in the late 90s, I think.
A rest well deserved. But
Anyways,
so
when I watched
premature.
this for the first time, it was shelved in between used car commercials. When did you see it first, Steve?
I didn't see this movie until about 1994.
Okay.
30 years ago.
People turning south from the
rented it
freeway
from a
were
Hollywood
startled
video.
when they saw 3 flying
I
saucers
immediately
high over Hollywood
fell in love
Boulevard.
with it. I just wanted to keep watching it over and over.
Yeah, no, I watch this movie at least once every 2 months, I think. Saucers.
It's the one film in my collection I've seen the most.
Yeah.
A woman startled by the sight in the sky
I think you and I
telephones the
could
police.
quote it line for line here as if we were the actors in the film.
I think I can too. I even listened to this on Echo. What's it called? That woman's name we use for Amazon? Alexa. It's on Amazon Music.
You and I both have a CD that's just got the
We bought the CD.
audio of this film.
Yeah, that's hard to get now.
There comes
That's
a
Don
time
Davis,
in
by the
each
way,
man's life
who later
when
would
he
make
can't
some.
even believe his own
Here's the
eyes.
kit. He made For Love or Money.
So his name was in the opening
Saucer
credits
seat
as,
over
as,
Hollywood.
not as the film editor. Do you remember the credit?
I can't remember the credit, but I know what
Saucer
you're talking
seen over
about.
Washington, D.C.
You gotta love these blank backdrops that they're standing
The Army
against here in a
convoy
minute.
moved into the field.
Well, you know, back today they'd have green and they'd be able to make something out of it. You know? It's probably not that difficult today. You got to admire Ed Wood's use of stock footage. He put it to as much use as he could.
Rockets were quickly
I'll have
sent
to
up.
wonder-
As if
Colonel
that's
Tom
downtown
Edwards
Los
in
Angeles.
charge of
See the
saucer
blank
field
background
activities
I was
Yeah.
talking about?
was to make the
And that's
greatest
Lyle
decision
Talbot.
of his
No, that's
career.
Tom Keene.
He
I'm
made
sorry.
that decision. Colonel Edwards gave the
Well, you
signal
know, back
to
in the
fire.
50s. Well, that's not Los Angeles, you're obviously right. I thought this was pretty cool. I used to think that Plan 9 from Outer Space was barely ever shown, but with the internet you can find lots of old movie newspaper clippings where it played in a lot of theaters. And I knew long ago it was on TV constantly in the 60s and 70s, and now even early 80s.
You could mention the 10-minute condensed version of this film. It's on the Revenge of the Dead Blu-ray.
Yeah, we just got the Revenge of the Dead Blu-ray, which is an Ed Wood movie, also called Night of the Ghouls. It has tons of extras, and one is a silent 10-minute version of this film, and it's really fun to watch. Apparently it was sold. I'd like to learn more about that. It's on the new Blu-ray.
And of course, the shadow is cast on the blank background.
They were gone.
Yeah, well,
Even
I
through
think
the
I just
piercing
wanted
eye
to
of
get
radar and
the
the
shots,
speeding jet fighters.
get the film made. This film only cost $60,000. Now that's probably several hundred thousand, few to several $100,000
Quite a
in
sight, wasn't it, sir?
1958.
A sight I'd rather not be seeing. Are you worried about them, sir?
Tom
Well,
King
they
was
must
one of
have a
Ed
reason
Wood's
for their
cowboy
visits.
movie heroes.
Visits?
And
That would
he was happy
indicate
to get him in
visitors.
films.
The big gun's the usual way of welcoming visitors. We haven't always fired at them.
I don't know who that actor is. He's probably
For
in
a
the
time, we
credits.
tried to
Next to
contact them
King,
by
I should look it
radio,
up and find
but
it
no
sometime.
response. Then they attacked a town. A small town, I'll admit.
Small town.
But nevertheless a town of people. People who died. I never heard about that, sir. Well, it was covered up by the higher echelon.
Honestly, I'm wondering how could anybody
Take any
cover up
fire,
an entire town of
any
people being
earthquake,
killed?
any
Especially
major
if it's
disaster.
LA.
Well, it wouldn't be
Then
LA.
wonder.
It'd be a small town somewhere in the country. But
Flying
still.
saucers,
he's
Captain,
talking
are
in the
still a
past
rumor.
tense.
Yeah.
Officially.
Now this guy's in charge of saucer field activities, by the way, too.
Keep them off
in the
again, sir.
movie.
What do they want? Where are they from? Where are they going?
Now we get to see the
They,
aliens
sir?
for the first
Who?
time coming
Yeah.
out.
Now, this is a training maneuver, sir. We only did a little practice firing at the clouds.
See, he's joining in the cover-up now,
Yeah.
apparently.
I wonder what their next move will be.
Well, we're going to find out right now.
It was crude, but it's not bad as a space station, sort of. And then we have our aliens are
What
played by
will their
Dudley
next move
Manlove
be?
and Joanna Lee.
Bunny Breckenridge.
John Bunny Breckenridge. That's
Your
him on
space
the
commander
left. He
has
was a
returned from Earth.
flamboyant figure of that time
Send him
period.
in.
Now that's not Dudley Manlove, I'm sorry. He's
He's coming in now.
Yeah, it's Joanna Lee.
Joanna Lee was in The Brain Eaters.
The Brain Eaters. She was
You
an
have your
actress. She
report?
eventually became the mayor.
We had to
I
pull
think
in here to Space Station 7 for
she may have been the
regeneration.
mayor of Hollywood.
We're returning to
or
the
Palm
planet Earth
Springs.
immediately thereafter.
What progress has been made?
We contacted government officials. They
Notice
refuse our
Manlove's
existence.
voice. He was used often as a voiceover guy
What plan will you follow now?
in commercials.
Plan 9. It's been absolutely
I love
impossible to work
the
through these Earth
flasher
creatures.
barricade light
Their
on
soul
his
is
desk
to
as
control.
part of the alien technology.
Plan 9.
That's good.
Ah,
Manlove,
yes.
what movie
Plan
was he
9
in that we
deals
see
with the resurrection
sometimes?
of the dead.
Where
Long-distance
What's that
electrode
movie
shot
where
into the
they're-
pineal pituitary
Human-
glands of
or,
recent
the
dead.
creation of the
You
humanoid.
attempted
Yeah.
any of this
He's in
plan as
that
yet?
movie too.
Yes, Excellency.
I watched
How
that on
successful has it
YouTube for the
been?
actually two.
We have risen too so
for the
far.
first time.
We
2
shall be
months
just
ago.
as successful on
I'd
board.
never seen that film before.
The living.
So they're talking
have no
about
suspicion
how
of
they
your
rise.
movements.
We had to
They
dispose of
rise
one
the
policeman.
dead
However,
from the earth.
none of
I don't
those
quite
risen
know
have
what
been
they're
seen.
hoping to accomplish
At least
with
not
this,
by anyone
but that's
who
the
still
plot. They
remains
rise
alive.
the dead to warn us about
That
nuclear
must be handled
disaster.
this way. But it must. Those who we
I
take
thought
from
Bill
the
Murray
grave
did a
will
good
lead the
job
way
as
for our other
Breckenridge in the
operations.
movie Ed
Yes,
Wood.
Excellency.
The Tim Burton production
Yeah.
of Ed Wood.
Report to me in 2 Earth days.
I love the way he just lets them go like that.
I feared
And
His
then they
Excellency
talk
wouldn't
about
take
him
our
just
report this
outside in
well.
the hall.
Well, had he
He's
been
gonna
dealing
know-
with their own
he's
people,
gonna
his
know
reaction
they're
would have been
talking about
completely
him.
different. He understands the difficulties of the Earth race.
What
One of
do
my
you think
favorite
will be
lines
the
comes
next
up.
obstacle the
Here
Earth
it is.
people will put in our way?
Well, as long as they can think, we'll have our problems. But those whom we're using cannot think. They are the dead, brought to a simulated life by our electrode guns. You know, it's an interesting thing when
I
you
love the way
consider
he muses
the
here,
Earth people who can
philosophically.
think are so frightened by those who cannot. The
Didn't
dead.
Harry Thomas do the makeup for this film too?
Well, our
Yes,
ship should
and
be
if you read
regenerated
in
before
some
we get
books,
started.
he wanted to make them look like aliens, but Wood said they didn't have time.
Harry Thomas did the makeup for one of my all-time favorite low-budget cult science fiction films, Killers from Space.
That's a great movie. That's a really good movie.
With Peter Graves.
That's a really good film. I guess Whitney's just having some fun with outer space right now and everything here.
See, these are pretty believable shots.
Yeah, they are. I mean, space capsules, for what he had, he did a pretty good job. Almost like they're auditioning in front of us right now. Okay, back at the Trent household.
I'm leaving for
I
a
still
few
think
days,
you ought
but
to
I
go
have a
in
little
town and stay
hat
with your
box.
mother until I get back.
Now, watch this dialogue.
This is
Rob
our
Craig,
home,
who wrote
and
a
nothing's
book on
going to
Ed
take
Wood
me from it.
movies,
Besides, most men try and
sees
keep their
kind of
wives from
feminist
going home
analogies
alone.
here of
That's
her
not
trying
the
to
point.
sort of
That's all
talk
the
back
point
to
there's
him.
going to be.
I kind of see it as teasing,
Now,
but
toddle off
I
and fly your
appreciate
flying
Craig.
machine, darling.
I think he's a smart
But if
guy.
you see any more flying saucers, will you tell them
Yeah.
to pick another house to buzz? Be careful. Don't worry about me.
Oh, you're the only thing I do worry about. Oh, forget about the flying saucers. They're up there.
I like every movie Mona McKinnon's
But
been in.
there's
I think
something
she's
in
great
that
in
cemetery.
Jailbait.
We were
And
talking
too close for
earlier.
comfort.
Remind me, was she
The
in
saucers
Mesa
are up
Lost
there.
Women?
Yes, she is.
And
She
the
and Dolores
cemetery's
Fuller,
out there.
who was Ed Wood's
But I'll be
partner
locked
for a
up in
while, were in that
Now,
movie.
off to your
Mesa
wild
Lost
blue yonder.
Women.
You promise you'll lock your doors
3
immediately?
also
I
ranks
promise.
as one of the so-called
Besides, I'll be in
worst
bed before
movies
half
of all
an hour's
time.
gone, with your pillow
Yeah,
But
beside
it
has
you.
has
this-
his following too.
It does. It has the same music as Jailbait, remember?
I have to have something to keep me company
Hoyt
while you're
Curtin.
away.
Court Curtain, yeah.
Sometimes in the night when it does get a little lonely, I reach over and touch it.
I do
Then
think
it
the
doesn't
acting
seem
is pretty
so
good for
lonely
these
He's
two.
talking about his pillow, right?
Yeah,
I reach over and touch
Crazy
your pillow
kid.
when you're not here.
yeah. He is, you're right. These are some effective scenes when they they
I do
mix
love you,
Lugosi
darling.
and Tom Mason, but we'll get to that soon. Dolores Fuller, in her autobiography, says that unfortunately McKinnon had sort of an unhappy life.
See you
later.
Thursday.
Goodbye, honey.
She was locked in a, I shouldn't say this, but she was locked in a marriage she wasn't happy with or something. I have to go back and read it.
You know, I'm not
But
leaving
I always
here
felt
until
sad
you
about
lock
that.
safely
Oh, we
inside.
haven't
All right,
mentioned the
darling.
Rudolph Gray book, Nightmare of Ecstasy, have we?
That's our Bible. I mean, I've read that book about 100 times. I used to spend a Sunday afternoon just going through that book.
If you're especially nice, I may even lock the side door.
And be sure you keep the yard lights on.
Those are good airplane shots. Cockpit doesn't look like it'd be in that plane though.
There's that minimalist cockpit of the plane again.
He's just thinking about his
You're
wife
mighty
right
silent
now.
this trip, Jeff.
Hmm?
You haven't spoken 10 words since takeoff.
I guess I'm preoccupied, Danny.
We've got 33 passengers back there that have time to be preoccupied. Flying this flybird doesn't give you that opportunity.
David Demering is also
I guess you're
in
right, Danny.
Night of the Ghouls as a
Paula?
resurrected corpse.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong
And
between
he was
you
one
two.
of the few people
Oh, no, nothing like that. Just
who
that I'm
attended
worried. See,
Ed
being
Wood's
there
wake
alone and those
and
strange
funeral.
things flying over the house.
So he stayed loyal.
Those incidents in the graveyard these past few days just got me worried.
Well, maybe they
We
haven't figured out
reviewed
those crazy skybirds
Revenge
yet,
of the
but
Dead
I
on
give you
my
50
show,
to
but
1
maybe we
odds
need to
police
do
have
it
cleared up
here
that
as
cemetery
well.
thing by now.
Yeah, we
hope
should.
so.
If you're really that worried,
Norma
Jeff, why don't you
McCarty,
spread your
I
wings and
mentioned
find out?
married Ed Wood.
Max should be on
It
duty
was a
at the field
no,
by
but
now.
apparently
He
if
could
you read
call
the
Paul and
books
relay the
on it,
message to
she
you.
left
Hi,
him after
Edie.
she saw him
Silence.
that he was a
I haven't heard a
cross-dresser.
word from this end of the plane since we left the field.
I've just been giving himself and me a study in silence.
You boys aren't feuding.
No, Edie, nothing like that.
Hey, Edie, how about you and me balling it up in Albuquerque?
How do you ball it up in
Have you read that
Albuquerque?
flight schedule, boy?
What about it?
We land in Albuquerque at 4 a.m. That's strictly a 9 o'clock town.
Well, I know a friend that'll help us.
Let's have the problem first. Huh, Danny?
Oh, he's worried about Paula.
I read about that cemetery business. I tried to get you kids not to buy
I
too near
enjoyed
one of
seeing
those
Norma
things.
McCarty's interviews
We get there soon
in those
enough as
late
it
movies
is.
in the 90s.
He thought it'd be quiet and peaceful there.
No doubt about that. It's quite all right, like a tomb. I'm sorry, Jeff. That was a bad joke. Say, I almost forgot what I came in here for. How's the
You know,
coffee
Distributors
situation?
Corporation of
That's for me.
America
It sure wouldn't hurt to think,
was
Edie.
Okay,
a
be
company
right
that
back.
released
And
movies,
say,
and they
Jeff,
didn't give
make
much of
that
a
coffee
deal
nice.
to
Nah,
Edward
not only she throw
Reynolds.
cold water on my
And they later went out
Albuquerque
of
plan, but
business.
now she's repeating herself. How about that Albuquerque ball?
I can't resist your charm, Danny boy.
I'd love to know who actually made money out of this movie in the years, you know, it was on TV and things like that. Here's the first
Residents
shot of
near the
Lugosi.
cemetery paid little attention to the blast of thunder and the flash
He's
of
in
lightning.
full vampire regalia.
But from the
there.
blast arose the moving figure of the dead old
I
man.
honestly think this might have been for the Vampire's Tomb movie that was never made.
I love to see an occasional car drive by there in the opening underneath the tree.
Yeah, that's true. And then this, I don't know what this movie's for, but you do see Lugosi approaching the house.
See, when I first saw this film and I heard this ringing, I thought it was him ringing the doorbell.
Ah, well, that makes
But
sense.
it's the phone.
I don't know if a vampire rings a doorbell.
I know
though.
that didn't make sense, but yet that's what I thought. I thought, well, is Lugosi ringing the doorbell?
Well, hi, Mac.
Do you notice
Sure,
the
I'm
furniture
I
appears
just
similar to
fell
what's
asleep.
outside in here?
Tell Jeff I'm all right. Okay, Mac.
You know, in the Legend
Thanks
Films
for calling.
colorized version of
Good
this
night.
film, they mess with the pictures on the wall up there. They put other pictures in those.
Well, there's a
picture
picture of a couple, and that was a contest. A couple won that and had their picture put in there. I read that somewhere.
So if you have the capability to seek out the Legend Films colorized version, it's not as good as the original black and white, but you'll see that in this sequence here.
And here's Thomas Mason coming in, the fake Lugosi. You know, Plan 9 from Outer Space does have a Blu-ray, but doesn't have a really good Blu-ray. They need to have a good Blu-ray Plan 9 Crunch to come out sometime.
Same company that just recently released Revenge of the Dead should also do a treatment of this film.
Maybe they will. I like these scenes of her running through the cemetery. I think they're very effective. I love this scene, Lugosi leaving the house. Ed Wood did wonderful things with what he had. I love the sights of Vampire looking at everything. Quality Studios, they got their money's worth from that. Fred Olin Ray interviewed Ed Wood soon before he died, and Wood said quite, forcefully that he did not duplicate any of those scenes with Lugosi in the film, and I believe him. I think they look a little bit different every time.
One of my all-time favorite scenes is coming up of Tor Johnson trying to break out of his own grave here, but yet he can't get out of the grave.
Yeah, it's both. It's actually pretty creepy, and then if you think it's also a little bit funny because he is having trouble getting out. I just wonder what's going through Vampire's mind right now. This is a good scene. This is a good scene. This reminds me a little bit. Blasphemy, I apologize. Reminds me of Nosferatu going up. Of course, Nosferatu was able to do it easier.
When he's in the Demeter and he...
Yeah, he was in the ship, yeah. Boy, I would have given anything to have been in a theater and seen Plan 9. We did see it at a library 10 years ago or so, probably more than that, 15 years ago.
It was 2010, I believe.
Yeah, 9 or 10.
Well, we've seen the Riff Tracks live treatment of this too.
You're right, we did see it in the theater, you're right. I don't think that thing falling is too effective, but it's... And then, of course, low-budget films always have problems with continuity for light and dark. It's really hard to do that, so I don't blame them too much.
Speaking of Riff Tracks, our desire to do these kind of shows is not to poke fun at them.
No,
we actually...
Even though I respect Riff Track, we don't poke fun at them.
Yeah, we celebrate these films. We're not here to ridicule or criticize.
This is Carl Johnson, Tor Johnson's son. He also has a small part in Night of the Ghouls as a resurrected corpse. a nice mixing of the Lugosi and Mason shots. And I think it's a little bit creepy when Mason shows up about right now. I mean, no one's going to say that Plan 9 from outer space is scary.
Or boring.
No, it's never boring, that's for sure. Tor's wondering where everybody else is. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think Carl Johnson was with law enforcement and probably had an in on getting these kind of vehicles. There's our crime fighting people there. I kind of wonder what I guess they're looking for the resurrected corpses if they didn't even call that yet. You notice in the Ed Wood movie by Burton, they put the premiere of Plan 9 in a really swanky theater. It didn't play at the, whatever that theater was called. It didn't play at the Pantages. It played at a theater called the Rialto, I believe. A much smaller one that is no longer here. And it wasn't filled up with people.
Just saw another flash of there.
Turn off the electrodes quickly.
Yeah.
They can't tell us from anyone else.
This is a spaceship, right?
That image of those two standing there is so iconic. I've seen it. That
Oh,
shot
yeah.
right there. I've seen that everywhere.
Yeah, you've seen it hundreds of times. They must have some kind of brain waves to
But
get
yet,
them.
we never see Lugosi. He went into the ship.
It's tough
but
to
then
find
we never
something.
see
You don't know what you're
once
looking
he's
for.
in the
I don't
ship.
think the lieutenant does either. Then what are we doing out here? I was off duty an hour ago.
Conrad
Oh,
Brooks
don't
there
ask
on
me
the
any
left.
questions. I'm just a
You
hard man
notice
just like you.
in the other movies, the earlier film, Bride of the Monster, and the later film, Night of the Ghouls, what's his name? Paul Marco's
What do you
Kelton
suppose
is
that
more
noise
broad
was?
in his comedy.
Whatever it was, it's no more strange than the
He's
other
not
things
as broad
happening
in
around the
comedy
cemetery.
in this movie.
Spirits like old Farmer Calder talked about.
I like this,
Well, maybe.
too.
The only spirits he saw tonight were those I smelled on his breath.
Well, don't forget, Miss Trent claims to have seen them, too. She didn't have anything on her breath.
She was hysterical.
Well, true, she was frightened and in a state of shock. But don't forget that torn nightgown and the scratched feet.
This is very
Yeah,
surreal dialogue.
Hadn't thought of that. Guess that's why you're a detective lieutenant and I'm still a uniformed cop.
Sometimes it's only the breaks, Larry. Meantime, let's get...
Lieutenant, did you hear that?
How could we help it?
It sure was strange. Know what it was?
No more than you do.
Went for orders. I get out of here right now.
It was a saucer.
A flying saucer?
What makes you say that?
Do you remember the noise we heard the other
Trying to
night?
find the guy's
We were knocked
name.
to the ground. How could I forget?
Exactly. But you're not remembering that sound.
There you're wrong, Lieutenant.
Carl
I'm with
Anthony
the
is
fact
talking
the
right
sound
now.
is similar, but what about the
He was
blinding
also
light?
in The Sinister
Oh, haven't you
Urge.
heard? And many times the saucer hasn't had a glow. Or a
And you
light
were
of any
telling
kind
me
for that
earlier
matter.
that the Sinister
That
Urge
proves
is a
it.
hidden
What next,
film
Lieutenant?
on the
Oh, Lieutenant,
new
maybe this doesn't
Revenge
mean
of the
much,
Dead
but,
release.
Yeah, when you go up into the menu, you have to click on this red box, and it'll
Come
show
on,
up.
man, out with it. We haven't got all day to waste.
Did you say that's
over there
Golden
beyond the
Ninja?
crypt.
That's the
All right,
company.
show us the
What's
way.
the name of the company that puts that
Gold
in-
Ninja,
Look, here it
or
is,
Ninja
Lieutenant.
Gold. Yeah, and it's a great. It's worth the money.
It's
believe
been
me.
broken into, all right.
One thing I mentioned, I didn't know who
Strange.
the other
If
gravedigger
someone had
was
broken in,
with J. Edward
the dirt should be
Reynolds.
piled up here
It's
somewhere.
actually Hugh Thomas Jr.,
Looks
the
like it's
associate
fallen into
producer.
the grave.
Larry, you'll be out of that uniform before you know it.
Do we have the right to look down there,
Okay, so
Lieutenant?
Conrad Brooks,
Technically, no.
Carl Anthony,
Well, this spot looks familiar,
that's
though.
Paul Marco and Duke
Yeah,
Moore.
we shouldn't investigate
It's like
any
a good
further
shot of
without
all of them,
permission
right?
of next of kin.
Let's go get it.
How? I see what you mean. The gravestone's down there.
Well, let's go down and find out whose grave it is. How? By going down and finding out.
Don't you think they kind of know if they're at the funeral?
If I didn't mean it, I wouldn't have said it. Scared? Well, why do I always get hooked up with these spook details?
Which
Monsters,
one of them said this spot
graves,
looks
bodies.
familiar, though? That
Yeah.
was Carl Anthony.
Yeah. There's Conrad Brooks. Not Conrad Brooks. There's Paul Marco being a little goofy right now. You know, Paul Marco got some bad press in the genre magazines. But he stayed with Wood until the end. Once again, he was at the wake and funeral.
It's too dark.
So the man was loyal.
Give me a
to
flashlight. How about a match? We sure could try it. Let me have them. Okay.
But I think in Night of the Ghouls, Paul Marco's character Kelton is a little bit more cowardly than he is in the previous two movies.
But he ain't in it.
Now we finally get to see Lyle Talbot.
Yeah, it was a while
But
before.
meanwhile, at the Pentagon in Washington,
We're a
D.C.
good 40 minutes into this film, and we finally get to see. There he is.
Right, G2.
Talbot said he
in?
was having a tough time when this film was being made.
Yes, of course.
Or maybe it was for Glenn and Glenda, and Wood would pay him in.
I love some of this dialogue here.
Come in, Colonel Edwards. Close
Wood
the
would
door.
pay him in cash.
At ease, Colonel. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, he tells him he's not supposed to believe in flying saucers, but look at his job title.
Saucer
I
field activity.
understand, Colonel, you've been on tap for many of our saucer attacks.
I'm in charge of field operations, sir.
You believe there are such things as flying saucers, Colonel?
Yes, sir.
Mr.
seen
Talbot
them?
also lived
Yes, sir.
a very long life.
You
He did,
realize there's
into
a
the
government
1990s.
directive stating that there
And
is
there's
no
a biography
such thing
written by
as
his
a flying
daughter.
saucer.
I can't remember
Yes,
the
sir.
title right now,
You
but
stand by
it's
your
worth
statement
buying.
that you've
Just
seen
look up Lyle
flying
Talbot
saucers?
biography.
Well, yes, sir.
This could mean a court-martial,
He could get a court-martial.
admitting this against direct orders.
Well, I like it when they talk
General
about
Roberts,
the
may I speak freely?
dictorobatory machine,
How
interpreting
could I hope
the
to hold
alien's
down my command
communication.
if I didn't believe in what I saw
That's
and
pretty
shot
cool.
at?
These are two legends. They were stars in
I,
1930s. You're looking at
thank you,
vintage
Colonel.
film
Thank you,
legends
sir.
together.
There are flying saucers.
Talbot was a
There's no
First
doubt they
National
are in our
contract
skies.
star.
They've been there
Keene
for
was a
some
cowboy
time.
star.
What are we going to do about them?
Who knows?
Then they really are there.
Well, that's
I thought
another
you were convinced
amazing
of that.
aspect of Ed
I
Wood is
am.
that he actually has
We've had contact
big
with them.
names
Contact?
in his
Huh?
He had his
Radio.
childhood heroes.
They speak our language?
Well, not quite. We received
He
messages
had Tom
from their
Tyler
spaceships.
in one
For
of
a
his early
while, it came
westerns.
in as just a lot of jumbled noise.
And now, sir?
Well, since they first tried contact with us by radio, we've developed
Kenny
a
Duncan, of
language
course,
computer.
you know.
A
Another
machine
Western
that
star.
breaks down any
Bud
language to
Osborne
our
was in
own.
westerns.
General, what's this all got to do with me?
Well, you've been in charge of saucer field activity for a long while. I think it's about time you heard these recordings. You mind?
Mind?
Dick DeRobery, right?
I'm anxious.
Yeah, dictorobatory.
Dudley Manlove is, I love his arrogance. You can see the way he talks. He's like a,
This is Eros,
there you go.
a space soldier
Well,
from
then
a
he
planet
does it
of
at
your
the end when he
galaxy.
fights Gregory
I
Yeah.
fully realize our language differences. However, I also know you finally have perfected the dictorobatory,
There it was,
or as you want to call it,
dictorobatory.
the language computer. So you can now
The language
understand that
computer.
which I speak. Since the beginning of your time, we have been far beyond your planet. It has taken you centuries to even grasp what we developed eons of your
Oh,
years
wow.
ago. Do you still believe it impossible we exist?
Love this line.
You didn't actually think you were the only inhabited planet in the universe. How can any race be so stupid? Permit me to set your mind at ease. We do not want to conquer your planet, only save it. We could have destroyed it
And we'll
long
save
ago
it with
if
zombies.
that had been our aim. Our principal purpose is friendly. I admit we have had to take certain means which you might refer to as criminal. But that is because of your big guns. which
I want
have
to say
destroyed
something.
some
I
of
want
our
to give
representatives.
kudos to a couple guys out there.
If you
Joe
persist in
Blevins
denying us
runs
our
the
language,
Dead to Rights
then we must only
Ed Wood
accept
Wednesday's
that you do not want
website.
us on friendly
Indispensable. And Bob
We
Blackburn
then have
has the
no
Ed Wood
alternative
Jr.
but to destroy
Facebook
you
page.
Before you destroy us. With your
If they're not
ancient
watching now,
juvenile
they'll be
minds,
watching soon.
You have
Yeah.
developed explosives too fast for your minds to conceive what you are doing. You are on the verge of destroying the
I want
entire
to
universe.
let you listen to this dialogue and
We
say
are
some
part
more.
of that universe. This is our last.
That's the last of that
Okay,
one.
so Blackburn is also, he was friends
That's
with
the end
Kathy
of that
Wood
one.
in
Atmospheric
the last part of her
conditions in outer
life.
space often
And he's
interfere
part
with
of one of her
transmitting.
joint
How many
heirs,
of
at
these
least
recordings do you have,
in
General?
legal terms,
Even a
I
dozen
think.
up to now. This
So
was
he
the
has
last one. We received it
provided
over a
lots
month
of
ago.
books of
You think
Edward's
they mean business?
writings
We can't afford to
that
take
come
any
out through
chances.
Bear Manor Media, and
Over here.
he's going to come out later this year with a memoir of his life
You
with
ever been
Kathy
to Hollywood?
Wood from
Oh,
Bear
a couple of
Manor
times,
Media,
2 years
too.
ago.
So
You're
thanks,
going to
Bob
be there
Blackburn,
in
for
the
all you
morning.
do.
Just a few
And
minutes from
also
Hollywood in
Joe
the town
Brothers.
of
And
San
Greg
Fernando.
Dweiser, is also someone
Reports
who's
have
done a
come
lot
in
for the Ed
of
Wood.
saucers flying
And there's
so low
many people
the
I should mention
exhaust
but can't
knocked
right
people
now.
to
Just
the
watch the
ground.
movie. But I wanted to give
There have
kudos
even
to
been
them.
stated claims of saucer landings. Major Carlson will replace you
Can't
while
get
you're
the
out
drawer
there.
open.
You're the
Well,
best man for the
maybe
job
it's
of
locked.
attempting to contact them.
Well, you'll see here in a
Find them,
minute.
Colonel.
He kind of
See
struggles
what in
with it
hell it is they want. All right, sir.
right now. He kind of,
Just had to give it an extra tug.
a
you know.
little bit there. He's
These are confidential reports, Colonel. Read them over carefully on the plane. Turn them over to intelligence when
That's
you
the
get to Los
Pentagon, by the
Angeles.
way.
They'll have
We need
further
better
orders for
offices.
disposition.
I'm getting.
Yes,
into,
sir.
I don't want to get snarky. Okay, so I'll try to avoid that.
Colonel Edwards? Yes, sir. Good luck.
Well, if this
Thank you,
was a
sir.
perfect film, we wouldn't enjoy it
No,
as much.
we love it for its imperfections. We love it for its unique imperfections. We love it that it can't be replicated. You cannot replicate Ed Wood. You see people try sometimes. Remember that movie? What was it called? They made a sequel, not a sequel, but a remake called Plan 9. They just called it.
Plan 10?
No, it's called Plan 9. It came out about 10 years ago. I appreciate their efforts, but it just no one even talks about
We
it
are
now.
ready to
Well,
report,
I've always
Excellency.
seen a cult
You are
film as
many
if
days
it's
late.
an ugly
It was
lost
unavoidable.
puppy. You want to take it
We
home
tried
and
to
nurse it
transmit
back
via
to health,
televisor, but
even though you
atmospheric
know that
conditions
it
made
has to
transmission
die.
impossible.
This is an ugly lost puppy we love all the
But it
time.
doesn't die.
I thought time was of the
doesn't
essence.
die.
Yeah.
Suspicion has fallen upon our movements. Our ships have been viewed near the point of operations.
Now, he's
And
gonna
what has this
scold,
added time gained, Eros?
scold Eros.
We have successfully risen 3 of the dead ones.
Permit me to see one.
Bring in the big one. Use your small
I
electrode
love the
gun.
scene coming up.
I have taken 2 ships from your command.
But that will leave only my ship.
It is necessary that you continue your mission alone. I have need of your other ships elsewhere. Even though you have risen 3 of the Earth's dead, the plan is
I think
far
that's
from
his
successful.
real name, Dudley
And you,
Manlove, or
Eros,
do you
must
think
prove it an
that's a
operational
screen?
success.
I don't
to
see
form
why
all
you have
time,
that as a
energy,
screen name,
ships,
but-
and your countrymen
So I'm assuming it's his real name.
may be spent on it.
We will not fail. Everything is on our side.
Not everything.
Here's the scolding.
You do not have the live Earth people. You reported that your ship was viewed at the scene of your present operations.
That is correct.
They have been viewed many times, but not at the scene of operations. Something must be done about that.
Okay. Tor's gonna go out of control here.
Stop him, Turner. He's close enough. Turn off your electrode gun. No! No!
Watch the theatrical eye rolling.
Get it, it's jammed! Grab him, you fool!
Drop the gun to the floor, Tanner. The metal will break contact.
That was too close.
Yes.
That eye roll.
Bring the giant here that I may get a better look at him.
He's ready to star in Beast of Yucca Flats now.
You know, I'm old enough to remember seeing kids with Tor Johnson masks on Halloween.
From Don Post.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was a
those.
popular mask.
Are they
when I
all
was a
as
child.
powerful on planet Earth?
This one is an exception, Excellency.
What are the other 2 like?
One is a woman, the other an old man.
An old man, you say?
Yes, Excellency.
What are the movies they had Plan 9.
This gives me a plan.
Okay.
Put the big one away.
Flying Saucers Over Hollywood.
Pick up your electrode
is
gun.
a Ed Wood
Make sure it's in working order before pointing it at him.
Yeah, and what's the one that John Crawford Thomas made?
Take him
where
back
they
to
all
the
sing
ship.
The
a-
Haunted World of Edward D. Jr.
And there was even one called Mystery, and the mystery show that was on the E Channel.
On the Trail of
It was
Edward.
on the Trail of Edward with Conrad Brooks, right? Cult movies put that out, but
The
there was
old
something
one
called
must be
Mystery
sacrificed.
and Shadows or something.
Reland on
Yeah,
Earth.
that's
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Send the old one.
All the others
to
we
enter a
listed,
dwelling.
I've seen many times.
There was one
Then
that used to be on
cut
the
the
E Channel.
electrokinetic
It
and
was
turn
a
on your ship's
23-minute show. I've
decomposure
seen it on
ray.
TV and also on
The
YouTube.
result will astound those watching.
Mysteries and
Astound them
Scandals or
enough to
something
delay
it's
their
called.
intention until you have gained your other recruits from the cemetery.
Yes, Excellency. It'll be done.
Report to me when this has been accomplished.
On the Trail of Edward was made by Cult Movies magazine.
Eros, the Earth people are getting closer to that which
Maybe
we
he's
fear.
kind of the Darth
Since they
Vader of
will
his time, but he
not
doesn't
listen
have
or
the
respect
Force.
our existence.
No Force,
They
no.
cannot help but believe our powers when they see their own dead walking round again, brought about by our advancement and such things.
Because they keep calling
As
him
soon as you have enough
Excellency.
of the dead recruits,
Trying to rally
march
the
them on the
troops right
capitals
now,
of the
isn't
earth.
it?
Let nothing stand in your way. Their own dead will be used to make them accept our existence and believe in that fact.
It's just a whacked out plot, but I love it. They're trying to resurrect a handful of dead people, and that's going to get Earth to listen to their anti-nuclear statement. Okay, so he's in
Mr. Grant.
Hollywood now.
This is Colonel Edwards from Washington, D.C.
Good evening, Colonel.
Hello, Colonel. Colonel would like to ask you a few questions.
Questions? What about, Colonel? May I sit down?
Oh, I'm sorry. Please do.
I want to ask you about your strange experience the other night when you saw the flying saucer.
After that, the police brought me home. I hope I never see such a sight again.
Well, after your description, I don't think I'd want to see it either. One thing more. After you were forced to the ground by that blast of wind, was it a hot or cold blast?
I like that Duke Moore is in
It's
this
kind of hard to
scene, but
explain. Wasn't hot.
if
wasn't
the government
cold,
sent
just
someone
a
from the Pentagon,
terrific force. We
I don't
couldn't
know
get
if
off
they'd
the
be
ground.
dealing with a local cop.
The light blinded me so badly,
point.
I couldn't see a thing. We could only feel the pressure of the wind until it was gone. When the glare left us, we could see a glowing ball disappearing off in the distance,
Which way?
toward the cemetery.
See, they never actually show the Lugosi character in the spaceship, just when he goes in it and comes out.
And out of it, yeah. And then this is maybe the last, I don't know if this is the last shot yet. There might be more of Lugosi coming out
This
of
is
the
the
woods.
most fantastic story I've ever heard.
And every word of it's true, too.
That's the fantastic part of it.
Colonel, we found a lot of suspicious things out
You
in
know,
that cemetery.
Greg Walcott
Then
in
again,
that Spaghetti Western I was
didn't
talking
find
about has a
anything to base a
large
fact or
beard and
suspicion on.
everything. It looks like an outlaw
Hey.
man, a rough and ruddy guy.
You hear anything? You see anything out there, Kelvin?
Too dark, Lieutenant. But something started stinking awful bad.
So I'm assuming the dead have a bad smell in this movie.
There's something out there.
I don't understand why she went with a thing like this, you know.
She's scared.
Yeah, she's showing fear or something. Poor Kelton gets knocked around a lot.
I love when he turns into a skeleton.
That's a pretty effective shot, you're right.
The ray from the ship hits him.
So, turning him into a skeleton was the design of the aliens, right? They wanted to make some kind of statement. I try not too hard to think of the logic of these films and why they're doing what they're doing. Just sit back and enjoy it.
Right there.
Based on what those aliens those dead people can do, they're lucky they did that.
It can blast all the flesh and organs off the skeleton, but it can't blast the kidney.
But even Universal monsters do that. You've seen House of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, where they take the steak out of the skeleton, and John Carradine reappears with all his clothes and everything.
He'll be all right in a few minutes.
Did you see that thing? Did you get it?
We got it.
What was it? It didn't fall. I fired every bullet I had.
If you're a fan of the 1959 film Teenagers from Outer Space, they use a skeleton
of a dog
quite frequently in that movie. Every time someone gets shot with the alien ray gun.
Isn't there a little dog that happens to also?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, this scene has Mona McKinnon in the back.
I've been out here so often, you think I've taken a lease on this place.
Eventually, it's recreated pretty well in the Ed Wood movie by Tim Burton.
Know, I can't help but feel the answers
Not this
out here
scene,
somewhere.
but upcoming.
Is the girl safe?
Mrs. Trent, you better stay with the car.
Stay here alone? Not on your life.
Modern women.
Right.
Yeah, they've been that way all down through the ages, especially in a spot like this.
It's another goofy dialogue.
Mrs. Trent.
All right, Lieutenant.
Now, you stay close to the officer, honey.
I'd feel safer with you.
I gotta be honest, I wouldn't feel too safe with Kelton.
Now, the lieutenant knows best.
Well, I don't like it, but I guess there isn't much I can do about it.
You have a gun?
No.
You know how to use one?
After 4 years in the Marine Corps?
Here.
You think we'll need these?
Watch where
Never
you point
tell.
that thing.
Let's get
Yeah,
going.
they're not practicing gun pointing safety, are they? It's a reminder of how ubiquitous cigarettes used to be.
Would expect to find out here.
Well, there's only one answer to that, Mr. Trent. We'll know when we find it. Inspector Clay's grave right over here.
Is that the one you told me was broken into?
Yes.
Now, in Tim Burton's Ed Wood, he really is big on getting everything right. There's an actress in the back of that car that the Kelton character is guarding, and it looks just like Mona McKinnon.
Broken off instead of
even though
I figured that.
she's just an extra,
I
has no
wonder.
dialogue in the film.
Look, Colonel, some things just can't happen.
Yeah, well, after that apparition that was draped across Mr. Trent's patio, I would say we should keep our minds open to anything.
Look, Colonel, I'm a policeman. I've got to deal in facts. But I guess I'll have to go along with you.
Well, you just
Now,
saw
I'll
a
bet my
skeleton,
badge
for
right
heaven's
now.
sakes.
We haven't seen the last of those weirdies.
Weirdies.
They'll discover our ship soon.
You're going to let them find us?
It's the only way. These are the same men who have been so close so often. They must be halted before they can inform others about us.
But there were others in the car.
They'll be taken too. Send the big one for the girl and the policeman. I'll turn on the dictylrobotary so we may converse with them.
So you can, with the dictoroper here, you can actually live converse them.
Even though they're already speaking English right now.
And they must have already had it on, so we can see that.
So remind me, in Revenge of the Dead, a.k.a. Night of the Ghouls, doesn't Paul Marco get mowed down by Tor Johnson in that movie too? He gets hit?
He does.
You know, maybe we're barking
He
up the
gets
wrong
slapped
tree.
around a lot.
One thing a policeman learns, Mr. Trent, is patience.
Where's that burn spot you mentioned?
Right over there. Look.
Oh, what's that? Oh, they're attracting them. They said they were going to bring them to the place. It's funny, I can watch this movie 150 times and still notice something new.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just move really slow, Tor.
Tor doesn't move very fast, okay? But he's powerful. The last Tor Johnson film was Beast of Yucca Flats.
1961.
Yeah.
Well, he died in 1971.
Yes, Tor would still do appearances last decade of his life. Places.
A moment or two more, and you will be the first live Earth people ever to enter a celestial ship.
Wow. Boy, how can anything that big hide for so long a time?
Never heard metal sound like that before. What do you see?
Only my reflection. Must be some kind of one-way glass.
I wonder how you get into this thing.
I'm not sure I want to find out.
Now, here they're going to talk about how they're going to kill them all.
They're just outside. You can open the outer hatch now.
I don't know much about this set, how they build it and everything. I haven't read much about it. It'd be interesting to know.
Look out!
You going in that thing? That's what we're here for.
I don't know. The way these things speed around, we might just get in there and off it goes.
That's a chance we take.
Well, I took a chance on those earlier airplanes. Might just as well see what the
Earlier
inside of these
airplanes?
looks
Was
like.
there earlier
Got your guns ready?
airplanes?
I tell
Well,
you one
maybe he
thing, if a
means
little green
earlier
man pops out,
brand
I'm
of
shooting
airplanes.
first and
Airplanes were
asking
around for
questions
about,
later.
almost more than 50 years.
Well, I mean, in this film, did he get in an airplane? I'm kind of
I
confused.
just think that's the surrealistic dialogue of Ed Wood,
Eros, do we have to kill them?
Yes.
Now he's going to tell us about the solar monite.
Well, wouldn't it be better to kill
The
a few
solar
now
night.
than, with their meddling, permit them to destroy the entire universe?
You're always right, Eros.
Of course.
Of
But those are not my words. Those are the words of the ruler.
Now, you two stay right where you're at.
We will do as you command.
For the moment.
For the moment.
This is like a
No,
meeting
for the
of
moment
minds, a
about it.
debate
You just do
between
as
two
I tell
different planets, even civilizations, over the whole universe. And it is both grandiose and sometimes risible,
Maybe
but
we
it's like
think we
great
do.
dialogue. I love it.
They would be of no use to you now.
All you of
Been
Earth
mighty
are
useful
idiots.
before on flesh
You
and
stupid
blood.
minds. Stupid,
And you two
stupid.
look like you've got a lot of both.
True, they would be effective upon us. If you were to have the opportunity to use them.
Mister, if you don't get away from that control board, I'll show you just how effective they can be.
Shall we talk now or wait? Your friends will be here shortly.
What friend?
Those you left at the vehicle.
If you've done anything to Paula...
Take it easy, Mr. Trent. Oh, I assure you no harm has come to her. Would you like to see?
You're a headstrong
young
Next
man.
time you try that, I won't aim at the board.
You're a headstrong young man. I was only going to turn on the televisor so you could see her movements.
Go ahead, my friend, but move very carefully.
Very carefully. That's kind of him carrying her, I've seen a lot also.
She's only fainted.
Cheers.
You fiend.
I?
A
fiend? I am a soldier of our planet.
I, a fiend?
It's almost Shakespearean.
We did not come here as enemies. We came only with friendly intentions, to talk, to ask your aid.
Our aid?
Yes, your aid for the whole universe. But your governments of Earth refused even to accept our existence. Even though you've seen us, heard our messages, you still refuse to accept
Danny
us.
Perry in cult films
Why is it so important that you want to contact
argues
the
that
governments of
Eros,
our Earth?
even though he's a maniac,
Because
is
of
making a
death.
passionate plea to,
Because all you
against
of Earth
nuclear
are
weapons and the
idiots.
preservation of the world.
You just hold on, Buster.
No, you hold on. First was your firecracker, a harmless explosive. Then your hand grenade. They began to kill your own people a few at a time. Then the bomb. Then a larger bomb. Many people are killed at one time. Then your scientists stumbled upon the atom bomb. Split the atom. Then the hydrogen bomb, where you actually explode the air itself. Now you can brings the total destruction of the entire universe served by our sun. The only explosion left
Here it is.
Is the solar night.
The solar night.
But there's no such thing.
Perhaps to you, but we've known it for centuries.
Here's condescension.
Your scientists will stumble upon it as they have all the others. But the juvenile minds which you possess will not comprehend its strength until it's too late.
Perry argues that Ed Wood
You're
was
way
able to make
above
this
our
subversive statement and not
The
get
solar
criticism
night is a way
because
to
he had a
explode
maniac
the
like
actual
Eros saying
particles of
it.
sunlight.
But that's impossible.
Even now, your scientists are working on a way to harness the sun's rays. The rays of sunlight are minute particles. Is it so far from your imagination they cannot do as I have suggested?
Kathy
particle
Wood
of
always
sunlight
said that
can't even
they
be seen or
found
measured.
solar night in the Bible.
Can you
but
see
I'm not
or
sure I
measure
could
an
find
atom?
it there.
Yet you can explode one.
When they came
A
up
ray of
with
sunlight
that
is
word,
made up of
yeah,
many
and
atoms.
looking at the Bible.
So what if we do develop this
Ah,
solar
love
night
this,
bomb?
love
Be
this.
even a stronger nation than now.
Here it is.
Stronger. You see, your stupid minds. Stupid.
That's all I'm taking from you.
Like on the playground.
Let him finish.
He's got his gun right at her stomach. I mean,
It's because of men like
Is he
you that
poking
all
her?
must be destroyed. Headstrong, violent, no use of the mind God gave you.
You talk of God?
You also think it impossible that we too might think of God? You, who wear the uniform of your country, you see, I wear the uniform of my country. Yes, we've had to use drastic means to get to you, but you left us no alternative. When you have the solar night, you have nothing. Nor does the universe.
You speak of solar night, but just what is it?
I like this explanation.
Take a can of your gasoline. Say, this can of gasoline is the sun. Now, you spread a thin line of it to a ball, representing the earth. Now, the gasoline represents the sunlight, the sun particles. Here we saturate the ball with the gasoline, the sunlight. Then we put a flame to the ball. The flame will speedily travel around the earth, back along the line of gasoline to the can, or the sun itself.
This
It will
long
explode
scene
this
is the
source
climax of this film.
and
really.
spread to
Brings
every
everything
place
together.
that gasoline our sunlight touches. Explode the sunlight here, gentlemen. You explode the universe. Explode the sunlight here, and a chain reaction will occur direct to the sun itself and to all the planets that sunlight touches, to every planet in the universe. This is why you must be stopped. This is why any means
He's
must
so
be used to
passionate
stop you.
in this scene.
In
I
a
love
friendly manner, or as it seems, you want it.
He's mad.
Mad? Is it mad that you destroy other people to save yourselves? You have done this. Is it mad that one country must destroy another to save themselves? You have also done this. How then is it mad that one planet must destroy another who threatens the very existence? Enough!
Oh, you can see this. There's excessive patriarchy Not only on Earth, but in other
women
planets
are for
too.
advancing the race, not for fighting man's battle. Life is not so expansive on my planet. We don't cling to it like you do. Our entire aim is for the development of our planet.
Steve, who comes off better in this? Gregory Walcott or Dudley Manlove, in your opinion?
Dudley Manlove. You mean this conflict right here?
Yeah.
Or overall?
In their argument. I think Dudley's a maniac, but I think...
What happened to you?
I think Walcott's acting like too much of a He-Man, right?
You sounded drunk or something on the radio.
I didn't see it with my own eyes. I'd never believe it.
Believe what?
It was horrible. And he almost broke my shoulder.
Look, what are you trying to say? If you don't make sense, we'll never get to the bottom of this. Now, who slugged you?
Inspector Clay.
What?
It was Clay, all right. Only not like we remembered him. Well, his leg was busted into, wasn't it?
Next, you'll tell me you saw skeletons.
We did, earlier.
Now I know you're off your rocker.
All of us saw it. The lieutenant, the colonel, everybody.
Where's the lieutenant now?
We've got to find him. Mrs. Trent is gone. I was left here to guard her. But Clay showed up and put me out of the running. And the second time tonight, and I'm getting darn tired of it.
Which way were they going?
Off that way.
Come on.
See, have you seen this picture before?
Then one day it could all be gone.
I think there's a still of it in Nightmare of
puff
Ecstasy.
smoke and ball of fire.
Yeah. Eros is
All
in
that out
philosophical musings
stars,
right now.
The planets, all just an empty void.
You two had better come along with us.
Come with you? Where?
The police station.
So it seems you think you have the upper hand. Look out that window.
Jeff.
That'd make a great painting, Steve.
She is unarmed, but he would kill in seconds if I so choose.
This is where they pick up a piece of
Holy
wood that's
cow.
already split in half to hit Tor in the back of the head with it.
Kind of surprises you that it could be
Look
knocked
there.
out with that, you know. He's already dead.
It's Clay, all right. There's no mistaking that.
And he's got Mrs. Trent.
Get your gun ready.
From all I've seen tonight, guns won't do any good. Clay is dead, and we buried him. How are we going to kill somebody that's already dead? Dead! And yet there he stands. That other one earlier, I emptied a full clip into.
I'm seeing it.
I think this is Marco's
That's the
best
only reason I'm
performance
listening
of the
to you.
3 movies he's in. I think he's pretty effective.
Look,
Less
I've got an
visible.
idea. Hurt him or not, we've got to try something. I'm going to sneak up behind him and whop him over the head. That ought to make a move. Follow me. Even when Clay was alive, he couldn't run fast enough to catch me. So when he does,
Why would Clay
you
want to
grab
catch him?
Mrs. Trent
Just
and run
wondering.
like lightning in the opposite direction.
Oh, you think it'll work?
Know of anything else
See,
to
there's
try?
already a split in the center of that stick that he's carrying.
Yeah, you're right. Good point in pointing that out. I'll be all right.
Oh, I'll be all right. Take care of the others.
Your men have felled the big one. This could only happen because the electrode ray is off. He'll walk again when I turn it on.
Hold it. Right there.
Suppose the lieutenant and the others
After
are
all
in that thing.
their
Well,
talk
supposing
of
they're
easily
Martians
killing
or
these
something in
Earthlings,
there.
they have to start fighting. You know, they were sort of in denial the whole time.
Come on, let's go. Open up in there. Open up.
Get that door open. Colonel, I wouldn't know one switch from another.
Come on, dude. This is the big climactic fight between the 2 antagonists here.
The Gregory Walcott character doesn't have a stuntman, but the Dudley Manlove.
Oh, yeah, that's an excellent point. You're right.
Hold
I wonder who the stuntman for Man Love was. It looks a little like that guy who comes in, you know, to introduce people. And when the aliens are together.
Oh, in that first shot when we first saw the dead, you're right.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Jeff. The ship's on fire.
It's a great line. I love the look on Walcott's face, Jeff Kent's face, just before he leaves.
Right here.
Yeah. That's a pretty good pyrotechnics they're using for this scene.
And Chris Will's going to ask us if we can prove that all this didn't happen.
And if you're walking home one night, the person you walk by could be from outer space. All together here. That, you know, I know it's crude, but that I like that shot of the completely engulfed in flames.
Ah, I wonder if that's the last we'll see of them.
Perhaps. But sooner or later, there'll be others.
Look!
A skeleton again.
Have they caught that woman?
That
thing yet?
Hey, that's right. There's another ghoul running loose.
And it's my guess that she'll look like him. With the ship and the ray gun gone, they have no control. We gotta hand it to them, though. They're far ahead of us.
They certainly are. I always like to scream at the end. Q2?
My friend,
Criswell.
you have seen this incident based on sworn testimony.
Prove it didn't happen?
Can you prove that it didn't happen? Perhaps on your way home,
Some of us laughed
someone
at
will pass you in the
vitamins.
dark.
These are
And
great.
you will never know it, for they will be from outer space. Many scientists believe that another world is watching us this moment. We once laughed at the horseless carriage, the airplane, the telephone, the electric light, vitamins, radio, and even television.
Has anyone ever laughed
And
at
now some of
vitamins?
us laugh at outer space.
I never have. I love my essential oils too, by the way. God help us. in the
God
future.
help us in the future.
Now, we love Ed Wood credits, so we're going to watch that too. And the ubiquitous filmed in Hollywood, USA puts in these movies.
We should thank our viewers for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. I want to mention a couple things while we're going through the credits. We are Plan9Crunch. We're Plan9Crunch podcast and blog on Facebook. Plan9Crunch on YouTube. We appreciate you so much watching this with us. It's going to be archived both on YouTube and the Facebook page. And that's the end of the movie. Steve and I thank you very much, and take care and have a great day. That's a wrap.
All right, thanks.